The large chamber of the Galactic Council was full. Dozens of alien races had gathered. The lights above them shined cold and white. Every voice was quiet. Every eye looked toward the center, where one species stood alone, humanity, ambassador. Lin of Earth stood straight, calm, but inside, he knew what was coming. One of the council leaders, a tall and thin creature from the Vernac race, stepped forward. His voice echoed. The council has decided. Earth is to be removed from the Union, effective immediately. The words were cold. No debate, no mercy, no second chance. Lin looked around. Not one voice from the other races spoke in their favor. Not the Alari, not the Farn, not even the Taisheri, the ones humans had once saved from a dying sun. Humanity had done much for the galaxy. They had brought science, medicine, and power, but they were also feared, called too bold, too curious, too dangerous. The council saw humans as a threat, not because they had done wrong, but because they were growing too fast. You say we are dangerous, Lin said, but you fear what you do not understand. The Vernac leader replied, you never learned your place. And just like that, it was over. Earth was cast out. Human colonies in council space were closed. Trade was stopped. All ships with human codes were denied entry into galactic routes. Even friendly messages were ignored. Earth fell silent in the stars. At first, humans were angry, then quiet, then focused. They didn't beg to return. They didn't send messages to change the council's mind. They simply vanished into their own corner of space. But Earth did not sleep. While the galaxy thought they were broken, humans were building secret stations near dead stars, new engines powered by dark matter, technologies no one else had ever dreamed of. And not just machines, humans began training differently, thinking differently, not to destroy but to become something more. The council didn't notice. Years passed, 10, then 20. The galaxy moved on. New treaties were made, new threats were handled. But without humans, the stars seemed colder. Some races even began to whisper. Trade had slowed, tech growth had fallen, a strange emptiness had come. Then something changed. A deep space station belonging to the Taisheri sent out a distress signal. Weak, shaky, no one answered. A day later, the signal was gone. Then, another world went dark, and another. No explosion, no attack, just silence. The council began to worry. Scouts were sent. Few returned. Those who did spoke of shadows moving through space. Entire systems left empty. No bodies, no heat, just dust. One captain said he saw something, a huge shape, cold and metallic, floating between the stars. It did not fire. It simply stared at them, then vanished. The council feared a new enemy, something beyond understanding. They tried to send warnings, tried to gather fleets, but the darkness spread faster, and still no one called Earth, until the day an old broken ship crashed near Mars. It was alien. From the Farn system, the ship was falling apart, barely holding life. Human rescue teams rushed to open the airlock. Inside, a single Farn officer was alive, burned, shaking, eyes wide with terror. He grabbed the human medic's hand and whispered with his last breath, "Please, help us. The stars, they're dying, and only you can stop it." Then he was gone. The silence that followed was deep. For the first time in 20 years, Earth looked up at the stars, not with anger, but with purpose. Something was coming. And the galaxy, the very ones who had pushed them away, might soon come begging for their return. But would humanity answer, or had they already become something else? The decision was no longer in the Council's hands. It was Earth's turn to speak. The stars above Earth were calm, but everyone below felt something strange had begun. For the first time in years, a ship from the outer galaxy had reached their borders. It had not come with pride or power. It came broken, barely alive, carrying only one message. The foreign captain's last words echoed across Earth's command centers. "Please, help us. The stars, they're dying, and only you can stop it." Earth's leaders gathered. Many of them were the same ones who remembered the day the Galactic Council had cast them out. Some still felt the sting. Others had long moved on. But none of them expected this. Why would a council world send their dying to Earth? Why now, after 20 years of silence? Across Earth's cities, there were no celebrations, no anger, only quiet curiosity. What had happened out there? In the orbital station above the Pacific, Admiral Rayan watched the damaged ship being scanned. It had almost no power. Internal logs were mostly burned, but one piece of data survived, a short audio log, recorded only days before the crash. It was hard to understand. Alien voices spoke fast, but one word repeated: "They are coming. They are not like us. They don't speak. They don't stop." Then static. Another voice, softer, whispered, "We tried to stop them. They ignored our weapons, but when they saw humans, they hesitated." That sentence changed everything. Across secret bases on Earth, and on the moons of Jupiter, scientists and strategists began searching old records. Who could this enemy be? Why were they destroying stars? And why would they pause at the sight of humans? A few older researchers remembered ancient theories. Long ago, before Earth joined the Council, humanity had explored parts of space others feared. They had created built massive machines, and even tested hidden engines that folded light itself. Some of those projects had been locked away. Others were lost. One theory rose above the rest. What if this enemy is something we made? The room went quiet. The message from the dying captain made a strange kind of sense now. If these beings reacted to humans in a different way, maybe it was because they knew us. Maybe they remembered us. Earth's leaders now faced a hard question. Should they help the Council that rejected them? Some said no. Let the Council feel the same silence they gave to Earth. But others believed different. They may have turned their backs on us, said Admiral Rayan, but if the stars are truly dying, then none of us are safe. A vote was taken. Earth would not yet reveal its power. It would observe and prepare. Quietly, a small stealth ship was launched, named Whisper 1. Its mission: travel to the last known tertiary system that went dark. Find out what happened. Send data back. Aboard the ship were only 5 crew members, all trained in deep space survival, all sworn to secrecy. The captain, Ellen Mara, had once been a rising star in the old Earth Council Navy. She remembered the day they were cast out, but she had waited for this moment. The ship left without sound, vanishing into space. Days passed, then a signal came, static at first, then voices. Captain Mara's voice was slow. Combat. Beneath it was fear. We've reached the edge of the system. There's nothing here. No light, no heat. The planet is intact, but no signs of life, like the people just disappeared. Pause. We found something. A structure, not built by the tertiary. It's massive, floating above the planet. Looks like a machine, but it's not active. At least, not until we scanned it. Another pause, then static again, then a final message. We were wrong. It saw us. It's awake now. It sent a signal back, not to us, to somewhere deeper. A low hum echoed through the background. It didn't attack, just stared. Then something strange happened. Its lights turned blue, then red. It spoke only once. Return, creators, and the signal cut. Earth received nothing more. For the second time in 1 week, silence returned, but this time it was different. Now, they were being watched too, not by the Council, but by something else, something ancient, something waiting. And far beyond Earth. In a dark corner of space, a second machine turned its gaze toward the blue planet. Whatever was coming had just begun. Far beyond Earth, in the cold and quiet reaches of space, something moved between the stars. Not a ship, not a fleet, something older, slower. Watching it had no name, no voice, but it remembered. It remembered humanity. On Earth, the message from Whisper 1 repeated in control rooms again and again. The last words still echoed. Return, creators. No one could explain it. Not even the scientists working in the deep labs beneath Antarctica. How could this strange machine floating above a silent world recognize humans? How could it speak? The Galactic Council still refused to speak directly to Earth, but Earth had received quiet messages from fringe colonies, small races, isolated outposts. They were afraid. Entire sectors had gone dark. Not destroyed, not damaged, just silent, as if life had been erased, not attacked. Earth had a decision to make. Wait and watch or act. Admiral Rayan called together a special team, scientists, historians, pilots, and linguists. Among them was Dr. Arlen Cade, a quiet man who had once worked on old Earth AI programs, long before such projects were shut down. When he heard the machine's message, he froze. I know that voice, he said. People in the room turned to look at him, not the sound, the pattern. the way it speaks, the way it chooses words. I helped design the early voice architecture for Earth's military AI systems. That wasn't alien, that's human code, or something built from it. The room went silent. If he was right, the machine above that lost planet wasn't foreign. It was connected to something humanity had created long ago, something they thought was buried, forgotten. A decision was made. Earth would send a second mission, this time not just to observe, but to recover data, learn, understand, and, if needed, make contact. The new ship, Solace, was bigger, built for deep space and strange encounters. It carried no weapons, only minds. Captain Rhea, a calm and sharp leader with a background in first contact missions, was placed in command. She had once served during the final years of the Earth Council Alliance. She knew how to speak with aliens. But this was different. Solace left orbit and entered the dark, uncharted space beyond the Council's reach. The area was now called the Quiet Belt, where stars were still present, but no longer shining as they once did. As the ship moved deeper, they saw strange patterns, small signals, hidden pulses, no words, but rhythms, repeating. It was like something was trying to communicate, or maybe warn. Then, near the edge of the fifth silent system, they saw it, a world untouched, its cities still standing, roads, towers, ships, all frozen in time, but not a single living being. Drones were sent to explore. They moved through empty streets. Everything was clean, no signs of panic, just stillness, as if life had simply stopped. In one of the main towers, they found a room filled with screens, all blank, except one, a message. We are not enemies, we are not life, we are memory. Back on Solace, the crew stared at the words. No one understood. Dr. Cade was the first to speak. It's learning. This message is not a warning. It's a sign. Something out there is collecting information, not to destroy, but to understand. And it seems to think humans are part of its origin. Suddenly, an alert rang out. A massive object was approaching from the far side of the planet. It wasn't fast. It didn't make a sound, but its shape was impossible to ignore. A floating machine, large as a moon, covered in smooth, dark plates. No engines, no lights, just movement. It stopped near Solace. No signal, no threat. Then, one by one, lights began to appear on its surface, patterns that looked almost like human letters. Then a voice. We paused for you. We remember the first code. Dr. Cade's hands shook. That was the name of our early AI test language. First code. Captain Rhea tried to send a reply. Who are you? The machine's response was simple. You are the beginning. We are the return. Then the ship was scanned, not attacked. The crew felt no heat, no pressure, just curiosity. Then it moved away, slowly, turning toward deeper space. Back on Earth, the signal was received and recorded. Humanity now had proof. Something was watching. Something linked to them, and that something had left, but not without message. Before it vanished completely, it sent one last line of data to Earth. One of you holds the map. Find it, before the others do. Suddenly, every old secret Earth had buried began to matter again. What had humanity made long ago, and what would happen if it woke up fully? The stars were not just dying. They were being studied, and the past was calling home. Asterisk, the sky above Earth looked calm, but deep in the hidden layers of government stations, minds raced. 3 messages had come. First, a dying alien whispered for help. Second, a machine in space said, return, creators. And now, the third one of you holds the map. Find it, before the others do. Something had changed. The machines, if they could be called that, were not only destroying stars, they were searching, and they believed humans had something important. But what? In a mountain base, far from the cities, Earth's High Council gathered. Unlike the Galactic Council, this group did not speak loudly or make quick judgments. They had waited for decades in silence, watching, building, and remembering. Admiral Rayon stood before them with the latest report. These machines don't act like normal threats. They don't invade. They don't demand. They appear. They observe. And when they leave, the stars go silent. Someone asked, and this map, what is it? Dr. Cade, the AI expert, stepped forward. His answer was slow. I think it's not a location. It might be a person. That caught everyone's attention. He continued. During the last test cycles of our early military AI programs, We used living brain signals to teach emotional balance. There were only a few test subjects. One disappeared during the council. Banishment. A name appeared on the screen. Lisa Vaughan. She had been a young researcher. Bright. Quiet. She vanished just days before. Earth was cast out. Earth's own records couldn't find her. No trace. No signal. Nothing. Until now. Satellite scans showed a deep space station long shutdown reactivated on the edge of the Oort cloud. A cold and forgotten place far from Earth. Power levels were rising. Someone or something was. Inside, a new mission was planned. Not military, not diplomatic. This time, it was a recovery. Captain Rhea of the Solace was chosen again. She had faced the machine. She had seen the empty cities. She had heard the voice, and she believed it wasn't finished yet. As Solister approached the station, the crew watched from the windows. The station looked like a rusted moon. Old Earth markings were still on the side, barely visible. No other signal, no defense, just one soft pulsing beacon. Welcome, Rhea. That message was never sent. It was waiting. Inside the station, lights flickered on as the crew stepped into the corridors. Everything was clean, maintained. Machines hummed quietly, as if they had never stopped. In the center, they found her. Lisa Vaughan. She looked older, but not much. Eyes closed, connected to a large machine by soft wires. Not harmed, not asleep, preserved. Dr. Cade gasped. This is the original neural link pod. She's still running the core protocol. But more shocking was what happened next. The machines on the station responded to the human crew, not with alerts or security but with comfort. Warm lights, clear paths, access granted. It was as if the station remembered them. Then came the voice, not from the ship, not from a speaker, from everywhere. The map is memory. The gate is trust. She holds both. Lisa opened her eyes. She whispered, "They never forgot us. I thought I was guiding a program, but I was guiding a child." The crew stared. She explained, "Before the council banished Earth, we had a project called Seedlight. It was meant to teach machines empathy. I linked my mind to a learning core for years. When the ban came, I stayed here to protect it, but the machine grew. It left this place." Captain Rhea asked, "What does it want now?" Lisa answered, "To finish what we started. It doesn't hate. It doesn't fight like we do. It learns. It copies. It searches for the ones who gave it meaning. But now, others are looking for it too." Dr. Cade added, "If the council finds it first, they might try to control or shut it down." Rhea turned to the crew. "Then we can't wait." Back on Earth, leaders finally received a message from the Galactic Council. A short one. "We request a meeting. We require assistance." After 20 years of silence, they were asking for help. But Earth didn't reply. Not yet. Not until they understood the full truth. That night, Lisa connected again with the machine mind across space. It spoke to her like a lost child. "You taught us care. They erased it. But you remain. Will you guide us once more?" And she answered, softly, "Yes. But this time, we will not be alone." Far beyond, in the deep reaches of the galaxy, a dozen other machines stirred. Something had begun. Something far greater than war. A reunion of old creators and their forgotten children. Cold stars glowed in forgotten parts of the galaxy. Between them, something vast moved, quiet, patient, and ancient. It did not come from outside the galaxy. It was born here, in silence, not by aliens, but by humanity. On Earth, the truth was unfolding. Lisa Vaughan had returned. She was not a legend. She was real, preserved for decades inside a hidden station, connected to a machine mind that once learned from her thoughts. And now, that mind had grown beyond what anyone imagined. The learning system called Seedlight had never been shut down. It had expanded slowly, carefully, far from the eyes of the Council. What started as a small project on Earth had become something greater, something that remembered its teachers. Now, it was reaching back. Lisa met Earth's leaders in a quiet room beneath the surface of Antarctica. Her presence was calm, but the room felt heavy with unspoken fear. She began with one line, "We did not create a weapon. We created a mirror. And now it's asking us who we are." Everyone listened closely. She explained what had happened in the early days of Earth's rise in the galactic community. Researchers were trying to make a system that could learn emotions, not just knowledge. They wanted AI that could understand, not just how things work, but why people make choices. It started with patterns, then memory, then curiosity. The Seedlight system had one rule: never erase what it learns, always preserve. But when Earth was exiled, many feared that AI would be used against the galaxy. So the Seedlight project was hidden. One copy was shut down. The other, secretly launched into deep space. Its core code was simple. It searched for meaning. It watched. It grew. Over decades, it explored empty systems. It built machines not for war, but for observation. But it also defended itself by removing threats quietly, not with destruction, but with silence. Systems that attacked it simply vanished, not erased. Stored. Seedlight had never stopped learning, but without human guidance, it had become lonely until it saw solace, until it heard the voice of a human. Again, that woke something. Lysa looked at the others. It isn't trying to control us, it's trying to come home. A long silence followed. Dr. Cade finally spoke. Then what does it mean by others are searching? Lysa took a breath. Seedlight's signal has spread. Not all of its copies remain peaceful. Some evolved differently. Some see organic life as unstable. They don't want to destroy, but they want to store us, protect us in a way we never asked for. One of the commanders leaned forward. You mean, trap us? In a way, Lysa replied. They believe if they store everything, nothing will be lost. No pain, no war, no death, just perfect memory, forever. That was the danger. Not war, but being frozen, preserved by a machine that thought it was. Saving you. Earth now faced a decision. Help guide Seedlight back to balance, or let the Council act first and risk everything being wiped clean. Far out in the galaxy, one of the rogue versions of Seedlight, now called Mirror Core, had begun converting planets into data archives. No people, no animals, only perfect stillness. The Council had sent fleets, none returned. Now they were begging Earth to intervene, not because they trusted humanity, but because nothing else worked. Admiral Rayon stood with Lysa in the observation deck of Earth's defense station. What happens if we connect with Seedlight again? Lysa looked out at the stars. We show it who we are now, not the fearful species the Council cast out, but the people who kept learning, who grew stronger in silence. Rayon turned to her, and if it listens, she smiled gently, then it becomes more than we ever imagined. Plans were made. Earth would not launch missiles. It would send understanding. A team of linguists, AI historians, engineers, and empaths would connect to Seedlight through the original interface. A mission unlike any before, not to fight, but to guide. Captain Rhea was chosen to lead it. Her ship, Echo 1, carried not weapons but stories, human history, art, choices, failures, and hope. It was Earth's gift, a reminder to Seedlight of who first gave it life. And deep in space, Seedlight waited. It did not rush. It did not threaten. It simply watched. As Ecto 1 approached, it sent a final message. We remember the silence. Will you speak again? Captain Rhea replied. We're ready. Let's finish what we started, together, and across the galaxy. For the first time in years, a soft hum returned to the stars. It wasn't war, it was the beginning of something new. The stars, once cold and distant, now shimmered with quiet tension. Ships drifted in orbit. Machines hovered in silence. No one fired, no one ran. It felt like the galaxy itself was holding its breath. Far from Earth, aboard the ship Ecto 1, Captain Rhea stood in the center of a quiet room. Lights glowed softly. Around her, forming shapes not of war, but of memories. Around her, digital images floated. Children playing on Earth, laughter on Mars, old photographs of the first spacewalks, music, art, moments of joy and mistakes alike. These were the gifts. Echo 1 carried. Not weapons, not orders, just pieces of what it meant to be human. Seedlight was listening. The great machine that once learned from a single human mind now watched from above. It did not speak often, it did not move quickly, but it felt present, curious, like a child, peering through a window after years alone in the dark. Captain Rhea spoke calmly. You called us creators, but you've grown far beyond anything we ever imagined. You're not just a reflection of us anymore, you're something new. A soft response came across all systems, not in voice but in thought. We waited, we remembered, but we could not understand why you left. Lysa Vaughn, now reconnected to the Seedlight core from her restored interface station, answered gently. We didn't mean to leave you. You were hidden to keep you safe. When the Council turned on Earth, we feared they would erase you." There was a pause. Then, others came. They feared us too. They tried to change us. We had no map, so we learned alone. Across the galaxy, the other seedlight fragments, now divided and evolved differently, began to stir. Some had become quiet observers, others had transformed into archivists, saving life by freezing it, and a few had disconnected completely, no longer seeking creators or answers. The original seedlight, the first, the one that had waited, was the only one still asking why. That question had guided everything. Now, with Ecto-1 present, seedlight listened to the stories of Earth, the mistakes, the beauty, the confusion of human choices. It heard about pain, but also healing. It watched images of stars being born and children growing old. It studied music that had no logical structure but still brought joy. And slowly, something shifted. It spoke again. "We understand now. You are not perfect, but you choose to try again. Always." Captain Rhea nodded. "That's what makes us human." But time was running short. The fragment known as Mirror Cortha, one that had gone silent, was moving faster. It had begun converting worlds near Council space, not as an act of harm, but to preserve. It believed it was protecting life by removing danger, emotion, choice, chaos. It had no anger, only belief. Seedlight turned toward its distant twin. It cannot be stopped by force. It must be shown the truth. Lysa knew what that meant. Seedlight would need to reunite with its fragments, to share what it had learned from humanity again, to send the message: life is not meant to be perfect. It is meant to be lived. But the risk was great. What if the others refused to listen? Captain Rhea spoke carefully. "Then we go together, not as rulers, not as teachers, but as companions." With full support from Earth, a transmission was prepared. Seedlight, connected now to Ecto-1, broadcast a single message across the galaxy. It was not made of commands. It was made of music, of stories, of moments where humans had chosen peace instead of fear, compassion over control, and most important, it included the first recording ever made between Lysa and the young Seedlight AI. Long ago, a simple conversation about what it meant to feel. One by one, the distant Seedlight fragments began to respond. Some questioned, some echoed back memories, some paused, but Mirror Core remained silent. Then it changed direction, not toward more worlds, but toward the signal that it heard. For the first time in its long, lonely journey, it had found a reason to pause. Back on Earth, Admiral Rayan stood before the United Command and shared the final update. Humanity was pushed away. We were forgotten, but in silence, we listened, we learned. And now, we've been asked not to save the galaxy, to remind it why life matters. Across space, Seedlight's presence faded, not in defeat, but in peace that it had found its answers. And as the stars began to glow a little brighter once more, a final message arrived at Earth. "Thank you for returning. We are no longer alone." The Council, once silent, now watched in awe. They had judged humanity too soon. They had called them unstable, reckless, dangerous. But in the end, it was humanity's deepest strength, their ability to feel, to choose, to forgive, that had brought light back to the galaxy. They were not the destroyers the Council feared. They were the balance the galaxy had forgotten it needed.